Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. Now, this is our final review. It is Halloween today, so this is our final review in the Spooktober series.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
Happy Halloween, and we're just reviewing this all-time classic, directed by Sam Raimi and starring Bruce Campbell, and I think that you and I just are probably going to compliment this movie quite a bit when we get into it.
Oh yeah, I admire this movie very much. It is very inspirational. I mean, the Coen brothers, when they worked on the original, and they saw their friend Sam Raimi, like, look, he made a movie on nothing. Let's do it ourselves. So
yeah.
Not only is this just, an influential movie, it's just, a landmark film, especially this one.
Definitely, and it's kind of an odd film, the way it portrays itself as a sequel to the first one. Because it is a sequel.
It is.
But it sort of recaps the events of the first one within the first 10 minutes of this movie.
Right. They didn't have the rights to the original, so they couldn't recap with clips from that. So they had to, recreate a shortened version of the first movie to start this one.
Which they do well. It really just sort of kicks it right off and really catches you up with everything that you need to know. And I'm going to say right now that this is not only one of my favorite horror movies, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. I would say it's in my top 3 of all time. And this is an incredibly influential movie for me personally and for a lot of filmmakers out there when it comes to special effects and especially the combination of horror and comedy.
Oh, definitely. And also this has some really groundbreaking camera work. I mean, Sam Raimi's riding on a bike going to the cabin and then they just ran it backwards so it looked like it was going away from the cabin, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you're right, the practical effects, the things that they did they changed the color of blood of the Deadites so they wouldn't get an X rating because this movie is definitely gory.
Very, very gory, yeah. But in such a comic way. It's almost slapstick Looney Tunes comedy at time, but there are incredibly scary and startling moments. When I first saw this movie, I turned it off because I was like a sophomore in high school and I just didn't know what I was seeing. I didn't get it. I didn't understand that this is a comedy horror, but I would say this is equal parts comedy, equal parts horror, and that's attributed to Bruce Campbell's absolutely fantastic role. He is just amazing in this movie.
Yeah. I think that in the first movie he did well playing the kind of doe-eyed, he had no idea what he was walking into. Then he survives these events.
Yeah.
And he gets toughened up in this one. And then I think it carries over even more into my personal favorite of the trilogy, Army of Darkness. But it all starts right here. And this is where he really builds not only the character, but Ash is a brand. You know, he is an icon in movies. And it's all thanks to Sam Raimi's writing and Bruce Campbell's performance.
Yeah, and his character evolves. You're right. In the first one, he's kind of naive, and he just sort of is thrusted into this, and he has to deal with it to the best of his ability. But this, he turns towards the end like superhero status. Mm-hmm. Now he's this humongous guy with a chainsaw for a hand and a shotgun, and it almost starts to kickstart his cocky performance as well. He's not very cocky in the first one at all. And then this one, he really starts doing the catchphrases of groovy and all those cool lines and everything. But let's talk a little bit more about the special effects and some of the gore effects that they use in this movie, because they really are all over the spectrum with small models. They use claymation. They use practical gore with hands and models and all sorts of different things. It's all over the board.
I thought that the effects and the gore is handled very well to the point where it's not gore porn. It's not you want to see blood and guts ripped out. This is the movie for you. No, it's funny.
It is.
The gore is funny. I mean, there's a part where he's taking a chainsaw to a severed head, and there's blood flying everywhere, and it covers the light bulb, and then the room turns red from the light, and so not only is the gore funny, but it's effectively used to make good filmmaking choices, unique filmmaking choices,
and the transitions that they use with the gore, and just how over the top. At one point, the character gets sucked into the cellar door, and it's just flowing blood, it's spraying everywhere. There's fountains of
the blood out of 10 people coming out of one guy.
Exactly, and it's frothy and weird looking. All the blood's just kind of weird. Yeah, they use a lot of black blood, blue, green, red, all sorts of different colors of blood, but it works. It really does. It stabilizes this world. It grounds itself in being this is what this world is. So everything that takes place in it, you believe it and you understand it, and it takes you along for this ride and sort of sucks you right in. What I really like about this movie as well is the insanity of it. When he starts really going crazy and the whole house starts laughing at him and his reflection grabs him by the throat and tells him what's going on. Those are my favorite moments in this movie, is when he is just losing it.
Yeah, and then that's right before when the rest of the party comes and joins him at this cabin. And that's when the movie really starts to pick up speed. Mm-hmm. If I had a complaint about the beginning of this movie, is that the pacing's just a tad slow, and the recap of the first one kind of attributes to that.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where I watch it now and I'm more well versed. Where it's just I think that's where I feel it's like, all right, I remember what happened the first one. I know how we get here. Like, let's kind of pick it up. So I think that the pacing's a little slow on a rewatch.
Yeah.
But for a first-time viewer, you'll be, thrusted right into this.
Yeah, I think that's one thing about this movie that is pretty great is that it's relentless. It really doesn't stop. It doesn't, like, you're clenching onto your chair the entire time because it's just constantly moving. And yeah, you're right. When the cast shows up, you got more people to deal with. You got more deaths to happen. And even the supporting cast are pretty colorful. Bobby Joe and her boyfriend are two of the stupidest characters, but they're great. Like, you can't wait to see what happens to them because of how, like, kind of dumb they are.
Yeah, they're a necessary evil for storytelling.
Yeah, exactly.
They have to antagonize the situation, but at the same time, they're lovable, and you do feel their deaths, but when they're on screen, they're definitely enjoyable.
Yeah, they are. And also, we talked about the special effects, but also the makeup. I really like the way Ash looks when he transforms into one of the Deadites. I think it's such a cool makeup job. And even for its time, there's lots of close-ups. There's a scene where he like gets emotional with the makeup on, and it still looks great, the whole thing. And the blonde-haired character as well. When he transforms into a Deadite, it's grotesque. It's super disgusting.
Yeah, and the Deadite makeup kind of was the basic mold for pretty much all of Sam Raimi's creature effects. Like, it Dragged Me to Hell. You watch this movie, you watch Drag Me to Hell, you'll notice similarities, not only in the filmmaking technique, but definitely in the makeup as well.
Yeah, and he wrote Drag Me to Hell with his brother around that time as well. They just didn't get a chance to film it until they had the budget and everything for it. So you said that the pacing at the beginning is just a little bit slow for you, but is there any other complaints for this movie?
I mean, not really. This movie's very enjoyable. It's funny, the music's great. I mean, the editing and the cinematography, just all the technical aspects are great. If I had one like tiny, just little nonsensical, illogical complaint, is that they chain the cellar door and it's like this thing can't get out, but it clearly pulls a whole human body under the chain door. So it's like, all right, it could have easily got out if it could pull someone in there.
Yeah.
But that's one of those things where it's, once again, this is probably my 8th or 9th time I've watched this movie, and it's stuff I can pick out on a multiple rewatch, but watching it for the first time, I doubt you pick up on stuff like that.
Yeah, and for me, I don't really have any complaints. I think this movie is damn near perfect when it comes to a horror movie. I mean, it is rough around the edges. It just has a rough around the edges look to it, but
that's part of its charm.
Yeah, it completely embraces it. It's why it's so great. If I had to choose a complaint about this movie, it's sort of towards the end. There's like there's so much chaos happening, and the characters are just giving you exposition during it. Like, if we do this, then he will be able to get the They do that, but they already told us earlier in the movie. So I'm sort of like, you don't need to be telling us again. We get it. But other than that, I think that this movie is damn near perfect, and I love watching it. It's probably one of my most watched movies that I own. I think there's a lot of replay value with this movie.
Oh, definitely.
Buffs. Alright, so those are our thoughts on Evil Dead 2, and it was kind of nice that we got to watch this movie with 3 other people that had never seen it before, so we saw some fresh reactions for it as well. But on your scale, 1 to 10, on overall quality, what do you give it?
On the overall quality scale, I gotta give Evil Dead 2 a 9.5 out of 10. You said this is a damn near perfect movie. I'm in complete agreement with you. It's a lot of fun, and as far as the scary scale, I'll give it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
It's not overly scary, and the thing is, when you rewatch it, it becomes less scary and more funny. The first time you watch this, you will get scared. There are definitely some scary moments. But then when you revisit it again, those are the moments you look back on. They're so iconic and so just copied over the years that you laugh at just how great they are.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, I'm going to go a little bit higher. I'm giving this a 10 out of 10. I know, because it's one of my favorite movies. I really, really love this movie. It's dear to my heart. It's an influence for any filmmaker whatsoever. And it's funny that we just reviewed Slither as well, because Slither takes so many tropes from this movie.
Oh, it takes a lot of notes,
borrows so much. And it's one of those movies, again, where, it's scary if you don't really know what it is or what you're getting yourself into. So I'm going to go right with you with a 4 out of 5 on the scary scale. This can be a very terrifying movie. And watching the reactions of the people that we were with, that was proof that it is still a very effectively scary movie. So
and also a very effectively funny movie, too.
Very funny movie. Buffs. So that's our review of Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. Have you seen the movie? Are you planning on seeing it? Leave all your comments below. Also, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We appreciate all the support.
Yeah, we really thank you guys for joining us for this October, the Spooktober reviews. We hope you guys enjoy these scary movies. We hope that we've, given you some to recommend to friends and check out for the first time, because Halloween season's always a good time to check out scary movies. We'll keep bringing you reviews on Friday, but until then, don't forget,
There's no place like the theater.